Well, we are back for today's breakfast bite, and once again, I'm joined by Mike from Adventure Plus. Hi, Mike. How are you?
Hello there. I'm very well, thanks, Nathan. How are you?
Not too bad. Really excited about another breakfast bite with you. You brought some great thoughts over the last few months, actually, really looking at different things, different elements. You shared your personal testimony. What have you got for us today, though?
So, today I want to look at how God can reuse what we might deem evil and turn it into that which is good. So, we'll be reading um, Genesis 37 and Genesis 41. We'll pick some bits out and tell the story of Joseph and his Technicolor Dreamcoat.
Awesome.
Now, Israel loved Joseph more than any other of his sons because he was the son of his old age, and he made him a robe of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all of his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peacefully to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they hated him even more. He said to them, "Hear this dream that I have dreamed. Behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf arose and stood upright. And behold, your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf." His brothers said to him, "Are you indeed to reign over us? Or are you indeed to rule over us?" So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. Then he dreamed another dream and told it to his brothers and said, "Behold, I have dreamed another dream. Behold, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars were bowing down to me." But when he told it to his father and to his father rebuked him and said to him, "What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you?" And his brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the saying in mind. So we've got a bit of foreshadowing. The brothers are growing and growing in the resentment, not just because of how he's already been favored, but now that he's been gifted and he's had potentially even prophetic dreams. Lo and behold, his brothers really take this a step further, and I believe they've gone to see merchants, and it ends on the way. The brothers are deciding what to make of Joseph. They've isolated him, and there's talk of murdering him and disguising uh, the blood so that it would look like he'd been attacked by an animal. Thankfully, Reuben intercedes on his behalf, and while Joseph doesn't lose his life, he's cast into a pit where he's then sold into slave traders. The brothers cover up this exchange by, I think they take some hide from an animal. I'm not sure what the animal is, but they soak it in blood and make it appear as though Joseph has been attacked and mauled and killed by the animal. So of course, they bring that to Jacob, and Jacob cries out, saying that as he dies, he will go with the grief of having lost his favorite son. That takes us to Genesis 41, and we'll jump right to the end. Well, I suppose not the end, but we'll get to the nice conclusion. So then Joseph finds himself incarcerated and is alongside two other prisoners who have their own prophetic dreams, and interprets one, which has got quite a good message for, uh, I want to say it's the baker, and the news is good for the baker, but the other prisoner, unfortunately, has dreamt of his own undoing and his own demise. So he interprets these dreams. They both come true. One of them goes on quite prosperously, and I think is put in charge of something like all the bread or all the baking under Pharaoh, and the other fella, I believe, is hanged. Now, Joseph develops quite a reputation for his ability to interpret dreams, all to the point where Pharaoh hears of Joseph's ability to interpret these dreams. And Pharaoh has his own dreams. He calls on Joseph out of the prisons and this is it. This is his opportunity. Now you'll remember that this has started because Joseph's own brothers have sold him into slavery, and they were even planning to murder him. So here's one guy who was incarcerated, he's thrown into prison, and has now been called over the number one top doggy of Egypt. And he does a banging job. Not only does he interpret Pharaoh's dreams, but he gives them the proper workaround to mitigate the incoming famine that he's dreamt of. And so this proposal pleased Pharaoh and all of his servants. And Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this, in whom is the Spirit of God? Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards the throne will I be greater than you. So we see Pharaoh now exalt Joseph to his right hand. He's second in command over all of Egypt. Spoiler alert, we end up seeing the prophetic dream come true. When the famine does hit the land, Joseph's brothers come back to Egypt, and they don't recognize him at first, and he's sat atop the throne. Well, not the very top of the throne, but he sat in the seat of power, and his brothers return to him, and he's overwhelmed with the emotion of seeing his brothers, and he does smile upon them mercifully, and he sends them, he doesn't even take their money, he sends them back with more food than they've even come looking for. My extension lead has just fallen over. And he really embodies the Spirit of the Lord in all that it is that we strive to follow. He doesn't just ticks the boxes, he flies above the mark. And we see how what once was the evil done unto him, he could have very easily fallen into his human nature and displaced all of those negative emotions, the grief, the anger he would have been feeling, instead of displacing that onto someone else and carrying on the cycle of strife. He's overcome his human nature. He's followed in the steps of God. He's been virtuous and repays that in what is the divine nature that we are called to follow. And the goodness that comes out of it explodes. It grows exponentially. So that is a great lesson unto all of us, that the more we can serve the Lord by repurposing what might be evil in our lives, then the greater our treasure in heaven is.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a great story. I mean, Joseph and his coat of many colors, it's been portrayed so many times, and it's been, I mean, I've heard it talked about countless times, but it's a really great story. And you've opened up something there about the importance of, I guess, really trusting God, because he went through some pretty miserable circumstances. You know, thrown into prison. He was traded by his own brothers. I mean, that's got to hurt. That's got to hurt. And you can imagine the kind of bitterness and resentment that would arise from that. And yet he rises to the occasion, and by God's grace, he extends mercy to all his brothers. It's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Mm. Yeah. And the doubting there as well. It's not uncommon. I mean, even Moses, who was a stammerer when he's first called on God, he's doubting. So yeah, I mean, time and time again, the Lord proves how trustworthy he is, and how, we know if he calls, all we got to do is answer. And sure, it's easier said than done, but when we do finally cast that anxiety aside, he's got it. He's got it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amen.
Well, thanks, Mike. Another great
Hallelujah.
thought for us, and definitely one to reflect on as we go about our day. Thank you for joining me for today's Breakfast Bite once again, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, I hope you have a great day as well. Look forward to the next one.